despite the world being driven by technology where access to knowledge and information are increasingly essential, there are countless young minds in Botswana and across the globe who are facing a profound injustice, that of lack of access to opportunities to learn about the tech world. Today we have an incredible guest in studio who is making a difference in the lives of children, having written a Tech for Learners book to expose young learners to the wonders of coding and robotics. Ms. Sally Kimagu, good afternoon, Maitsu, and welcome.
Thank you very much.
So, tech and kids, right? You find a lot of times that our kids seem to be more technology driven because the nannies have been replaced by cell phone screens and remote controls and your cocomelons and whatever that kids enjoy these days. But that's just for usability of entertainment.
Absolutely.
Now you are coming into a place where you're saying, much as kids are using daddy's phone or mommy's phone, can they also find the benefit of utilizing it towards changing their lives?
Yes.
But what drove you to that?
Thank you. It's a lot of frustrations on getting to realize and appreciate and acknowledge that we're still so behind. Yes, baby steps we should take, but then the world is moving and moving extremely fast. So what's going to happen in a world that everybody needs to be tech savvy when our kids are still clueless on what we're talking about? So I've been in the tech space for quite some years. And having worked with a lot of children, especially within marginalized communities, I'm concerned about the digital divide. So how do we reach the child in the village and make sure that tech and getting tech savvy, it's not about having the latest iPad or just getting access to a laptop. How can we make sure that we trigger that curiosity, that innovative nature that's in a child, when the child is still not accessing the tools?
All right. So wait, you mentioned something there, right? What is our greatest fear as human beings to letting our children go into technology? What are we afraid of?
We obviously, and we have there's so many different ways we could package on what we're afraid of. But in most cases, they're obviously the cybersecurity issues.
All right.
That we have predators online, but then we can't help it. Currently, we are so scared of our kids being extremely smart, because they are very smart. And we can see the conversations that are going on with ChatGPT. To an extent, some countries are switching it off. Others are thinking we shouldn't get here. So sometimes I think we are afraid of getting super amazing.
But I think, again, the problem falls back to us as parents, right? Because this is not a school thing, it's more of a parent thing. That we get our kids into these things, but we know nothing about it. We're not even trying to learn about it. So I think cybersecurity falls back to the same way where don't talk to a stranger kind of thing. That I don't want my kids to talk to strangers, so I'd rather keep my kids at home and I provide the entertainment. So why can't parents be a part of this thing? Because then you can't control it. We have to get to a point where cybersecurity is a responsibility of a parent, the same way that burglary security is a responsibility of a parent.
Let's face it. Let's be very practical and realistic. And especially if you have children, sometimes we have no clue when they tell us to help them with their homework. We don't get it. We are old school. We ourselves are afraid of technology. And when you're talking about parents, let's even address teachers. Let's address policymakers who still don't know what you're talking about. So how do we do that? Well, at least we think the best we can do is grab the gadgets from the kids. Intuitively, these kids want to access the gadgets, and they're smarter than us. They'll figure out how to address it. They'll start coding on their own. So that's what brings us to this point of, let's encourage people. Let's start that awareness campaign. Allow your kids to, but how do you do it when you have no clue how to help the child? So we create resources. That you as a parent, this is learner-centered. You don't have to be there. You need to be there. But we know we also live in an economic world that you have bills to pay. And sometimes we don't get enough time to interact with our kids. So how can we bring back the family unity, the cultural perspective of it, which we want to maintain as we get into a digital world, and still make sure that our kids are catching up with the rest of the world? Does it make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense, So now tell us, what is going to be the easiest drive into this? The parent doesn't know about it or is afraid of it, but the world is going that direction. How do you get a parent to be comfortable now with their kids learning more about technology?
Now, kids, remember, TV has replaced parenting. And sometimes we're struggling with the consumption of that.
Yeah.
We're looking at, can we have children that are creators, that are participating in this digital reality? That when we talk about 21st century skills, these kids are attuned to it. The parent will only be happy and want to be a part of that journey when they see that resource my child was able to access. The child was in touch with it. The child loved working with it. I can see some progress. You've seen it. We have so many programs going on online, and it's interesting when I keep telling people, you don't actually need to sit and create a coding and robotics program.
Yeah.
There's just so much content online. But then there's free information. We don't know how to access it. We don't know what to do with it. So let's start with a tool that is easily accessible in our homes. We're not scared of books because we're used to books.
Yeah.
It's just so much about us understanding, what is my child going to do with that book? And am I going to be part of that book? Are you asking me to give the child assignments? So that is why we've created an extremely interactive book that is child-centered, that the child becomes a owner of their personal experience, their journey to education, to learning.
All right.
Yeah.
So now, obviously, now taking it to a book, are we not regressing from technology now?
No, we're not.
Okay.
Okay, what we've done is we've created a book that has QR codes.
Okay.
That a child finishes a chapter and gets online on the platform. And if the child has no resources to get online, the child still gets the skills. We're talking about accessibility of these resources. We work and we focus so much on marginalized communities. I want to see this book in Shoshong. I want to see it in Gumare. I want to see it in Bobonong with a child who has no clue what tech is, but the child is able to identify with the book.
Okay, so the book helps a child transition, or at least know of what to expect should they end up in a space where they're going to have to face the technology directly.
Absolutely.
All right. So now, obviously, these books as they are supposed to reach out to the children.
Yes.
One might wonder what's in there that I should look forward to seeing as a child or as a parent that is going to help me go ahead, except for the QR codes.
Yes. So the book is extremely interactive. We've done it with, we've been doing a lot of projects in Botswana. We've trained so far more than 5,000 kids. And from that, we've learned getting into the child's mind and getting to see what do kids like when we do this. We do a lot of like coding and robotics boot camps. And we get to understand. This is what, when we teach kids in a way they understand, stoop to their level, kids are interested in listening to you. So we have this sort of a specific different way that is not, it's not the traditional way of teaching kids. It's letting them lead. So that is why if you browse the book, you'll see it's extremely colorful. It's very personal. It lets you talk about your personal experience as a child. And then it's very short sentences, short words, a lot of white space that kids will identify with, and a lot of activities for kids.
All right.
Yeah.
So obviously we see things like this. Our primary interest is that the country is going towards the digital space and is trying to bridge the digital divide completely across the country.
Yeah.
How will a book or this kind of education as designed help kids be able to be a part of that? Because 2036, it will not be me sitting here.
Yes.
It will definitely have to be my son sitting here or someone else who might not even have to sit here, but probably just send out a script.
Yes.
Right? How will this contribute to getting the kids to the space?
This is sort of the starting point, right? We are hoping before your son comes, that time every child will be able to access tablets and content online. I'm a little bit not very comfortable and excited about printing because of environment issues. But we also have to be realistic. This is the basic introduction that we can have to children. So what we're looking at is, in the next few years, every child can access technology, and every child has some basics in coding, robotics, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity. It becomes the norm. Then that way we're preparing them for a future we don't know. As you know it, we're talking about, we don't know the future careers. This book may not be relevant in 6 months' time. That's how quickly the world is moving. So we're on a campaign, well, at least in the first world, maybe it will not. We want to make sure that even in Africa, in the next 6 months, we're talking of our kids have advanced now. They want to understand what is artificial intelligence and what can I do? What opportunities can I create? What courses can I, what is a data scientist? How can I be one? What is mechatronics? Career choices. And it starts from the basics, right from the village where there's a lot of innovation that goes on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now obviously, we want to get to that kind of Botswana, right? Why not wait? I mean, I only started seeing computers when I was, I don't know, I was quite old, but I think my ability to use it is at the space of ChatGPT, right? Why not wait? Why not let them be kids and they will meet this as they grow?
That is so risky. We can't afford to.
Okay. What is the risky part of that?
The risk part is, currently look at it. Have you seen the job losses? So when we look at the job losses that are happening in the global south, what about Africa? What's going to happen? Yet when you're looking at the job losses, have you seen the jobs that have been created and how people are making money? Like now it's become a career choice.
So we are taking, and I'm going to in the lightest way possible, right? We are forcing kids to go towards child labor in a digital space, because the more they learn these things, the more they want to sell them, the more they're generating income. And we are reversing now and saying it's child labor, but it's not really child labor, it's technological.
You see, at this point in time, you're not even looking at them getting to that point.
They are making money with Forex now.
As they should.
They should pay their own pampers.
You know?
All right?
But let's be realistic. There has to be ways of managing that. And it's a very scary debate. And I'm happy to see a lot of global leaders that are waking up to the reality on how do we manage this. But let's face it, the genie is out of the bottle. We can pack it back. You, at 2-year-old, you put your smartphone on the table. In 2 minutes, that child is getting into programs, things that you didn't know that exist in your phone. So we can't hold them. It will be, the price of doing that would be more dire. It will cost us more than the price of exposing them. Let's give them awareness.
All right.
I'm an advocate for ChatGPT being used in schools. And I know I get a beating from a lot of people on that.
The teachers get worried.
The teachers actually have been called, have been summoned, many meetings where you're campaigning for this. But then it's just automation. When the smartphones came, we still had our parents that were scared of using smartphones. My mom, who's a teacher, took time to use a card, a smart card for the bank. Yeah. She still wanted to go and queue in the bank. And she believed or not calculating the money very well when she goes to the ATM. Yeah. Because if you're old as I am, or closer to, I'm that generation that we still, I think our parents were the first ones actually to start using those ATM cards and avoiding going to the banks. Yeah.
So now let's see this now as the more we get into IT, right, or technology space, the more we are replacing life itself, essentially, right? Now, with how people are going, right, books like this, if I teach my child from home, will I be able to essentially have a coder in the next 10 years?
In most cases, you will. Plus, it's not a nice to have. Yeah. It's not a choice we have. It is a must have. Okay. These are skills that kids just must have. We're talking about my very exciting thing and what I love so much about exposing kids to coding and robotics. I'm not expecting each one of them to be a data scientist or a programmer. It is what it triggers in that. Soft skills.
Yeah. We have so I can still be a nurse if I want to be a nurse. Absolutely. Or I can still be a pilot, but I've got skills to possibly even improve how to fly a plane, not necessarily even to be there.
Precisely. The biggest take for me with coding is it triggers creativity, communication skills, and most important, problem solving. Yeah. Currently, if you think about how many youth in Africa we have, just in the streets of our villages with no jobs, and they're graduates, it's alarming. Yeah. And some of them are software engineers. How? Because they don't know how to create their own jobs.
All right. So let me give you half a minute to give us your closing word around this and a summary of what it is that exactly you do and provide and how best people can reach out to it.
Thank you very much. So this book, we have designed it with the use of educators, people who deal with children every day, to make sure we cover and capture everything that a child needs to get. Now, we are appealing to the community. All the goodwill ambassadors, each one of us, we need to closely work together and ensure that we have these kids being assessed in the villages and in the cities everywhere. So it's learner-centered. It can be used in class. So we are we are appealing to corporates to assist us on facilitate that move, that we can be able to ensure that the child in the village does not have to worry about the cost of getting a book.
Okay.
It's extremely well priced. We work as an NGO, so our prices are extremely subsidized. It's literally just the cost of printing the book and distribution that we want to cover.
All right.
Yeah.
Ms. Kimagu, thank you very much for your time and best of luck.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
All right. And that marks the end of our conversation with Ms. Kimagu, who is Tech for Kids. I mean, it's an amazing idea to get your kids into technology space, but at the same time, as a parent, try to learn and understand what exactly it is your kids are doing so that you're able to protect them as you allow them into the space.